regarding character art, where would the best place to showcase this be? Instagram, your website. So when it comes to character art, you want to make sure that you are putting the time and effort into creating character art if that's what you want to do. It's not necessary for authors to do, but it is a really fun way for readers to connect with your stories. It helps your cosplayers. It helps people who are going to be making you fan art, all of those things. So when it comes to your character art, you want to put this everywhere possible, but the most important place is your website, because it's not going to go down in your feed on your website. If it's on your website, unlike social media, it is on the page you put it on. It's easily accessible. You're going to link it to your pages about your books. You're going to do dedicated pages for all of your books so people can see it. And you're going to mix it in with information about your characters and your blurb and like all the really good information when it comes to your characters in that particular book. So you want to feature it on your website first and foremost. Now, after that, there's lots of places you can use it. But you do have to make sure if you have commissioned character art, or, and I know this is a big one, you're using AI generated art, you have to check the licensing agreement. So whether you are paying someone to create your character art, you're getting it from your publisher, or you're working with a bot program that is artificially intelligent generated content, you have to read the licensure. Now, I do have a really good video on AI generated content on book covers over on youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks with a lawyer who breaks down whether or not we can use this and how we can use this. So I highly recommend you go watch that episode with Tony like now. But you want to make sure you're reading the licensing agreement to see where you're allowed to use it. Because sometimes it's specifically for your website and you're not allowed to use it on social media. Or sometimes you're allowed to use it on social media, but you have to go through a certain way of crediting the people. Or maybe it's just to go inside of your book and you're not allowed to use it anywhere else. Or maybe it's just to be printed on swag. Or maybe you're not allowed to print it on swag at all. So you have to be very, very specific about reading the contract and the licensure agreement. Now, sometimes people do not give you contracts and licensure agreement. You want to make sure you have a contract in place. But if you don't, always check the terms of service on their website. Now, if you're working with somebody who doesn't have a website, there's no terms of service and there's no contract, maybe don't work with that person unless you insist on a contract so that you have those terms spelled out. Because if you don't, at any given time, those people can come back at you and say, oh, you weren't allowed to use it like this. And you don't have written proof that you were. So you got to be very, very careful with that. So if you do have permission to use it on social media, use it on social media. Put them on your Instagram stories whenever possible. That's a great way to use it. Use it in swag. Take it to book signings. Take it to different events. Create character cards out of it. You can put it in your books. I've put character art inside of my books. You can put it on your main feed on Instagram. You could even get really creative with this and create TikToks and Instagram Reels and even YouTube Shorts where you're just like flashing and quick paste photos on your reels. And you'll start off with like a little video and you're like, do you want to see my character art from this book? And then it just flashes the different character art really fast. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. You want to leverage it any way possible. And as often as possible, you want to show it to your people because you're always getting new viewers. Now, that doesn't mean you should be showing it every single day. If you show me the same picture of the same book boy every single day, I'm going to get real bored of that. So get new art frequently. Encourage fan art. People who are reading your books and love them to send in character art at any quality level and up that all the time, making sure you're consistently adding in new character art as you're getting them to your website, to your socials, showing them off, highlighting people, and showing how people are engaging with your stories. But your number one priority is your website. You also want to send these things out in your newsletters, and you want to make sure that you are leveraging them on any other social platform whenever possible, whenever you're talking about your books. You can even, and I've done this at some point, I have printed out the photos of my character art and created like a wall behind me. I've held things up. In fact, no, I moved it. I used to have, so right behind me, there's a bookshelf. And I used to store some character art right behind me, but I rearranged it and I don't know where I put it, but it's not right there. I was going to whip it out and be like, ha, Jack Frost, but no, not today. But I love printing things out and using them as backgrounds and holding them up. Like you guys know how I hold up my book covers. You can do that with character art too. It's a really great way to get people's attention. So you just want to make sure you're aware of the contract and the terms of use for any artwork that you are commissioning using through an AI generated source or your publisher gives you or whatever it happens to be. And also make sure you have permission for any fan art to highlight it on your website as well and credit as necessary.